Hello, hope you're doing well. Sorry for the extended absence. I've barely just settled down into this new life in the city, which was incredibly stressful, but the dust has settled enough that I can start doing things again. More specifically, I'll be doing the modeling streams again, so be on the lookout for those. So here's why I've been quiet for the last forever. I have started an associate's degree in interactive simulation and game technology, which is a big bunch of fancy buzzwords, to be honest. But all I really wanted was some greenery and some time to work on these projects, so I'm getting what I want out of it. And some schoolwork on the side to stave off the degeneration of neuroplasticity. I'm not getting too crazy with the giant projects yet because I'm still preparing for the modeling conference in Canada, where I'll be a presenter at the SketchUp base camp for all the things I've made so far, which will be quite the culture shock, but I'm ready for it. But I did want to describe my experience in college so far, and I'll share a couple of the projects that I have been working on. And I did want to say that after the base camp that things will really ramp up for the game, so looking forward to that. An actual playable prototype will be the goal, but for now I'll just detail my first few months in college, just for fun. Because it's turning out the way I expected it to be, but not to the extent I was actually expecting. So the first semester was 2 classes, psychology and intro to game design. And psychology was difficult, but I learned a lot from it. The teacher was excellent, amazing. But what happened with the game design class was we had to playtest an NFT game. Like the whole gimmick is you have to buy an NFT just to play the game. And I see a lot of holes in that plan in terms of business model, which I hate NFTs, but the game was cute and I kinda liked it. But it was definitely not ready for release. And our only job was to play the game and be quality assurance 1 week before launch. So yeah, it flopped, saw that coming, but then something I didn't see coming is he ghosted us for the rest of the semester. Not the best first impression of the program, which is an incredibly difficult endeavor to push a game to launch, and I don't know the whole story, so I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt. And I do hope that him and his team find success in the future, at least when he develops some self-awareness. And the second class after this was Intro to Level Design. And this one was pretty benign, make a maze, that's about it. And a quick backstory before moving on is I have taken art college twice online a long time ago, and I dropped out both times, almost immediately. And the reason that happened is because I was already at a higher level than the base classes, but I viewed them as not worth my time unless I one-upped them, which is straight up arrogance, and that was my fault. But instead of trying to correct me, they just accused me of mocking the program. And my advice for teachers out there is if a student is going off the rails, you have to explain why you want him to make a certain thing to get him back where he needs to be. Because accusing him of undermining a class just really hurts the will to do anything and creativity and all that. And I'm willing to bite the bullet now if it means just to get past these low-level classes. But I felt the compulsion to test my luck and see what I could get away with in this level design class. So all we had to do was make a maze that could be solved horizontally, and that's it. So I went ahead and redid all of the assets that we were given to get the textures that I wanted, and did some blueprint coding to programmatically place meshes rather than manually placing them. And rather than just being a regular maze, this one's designed to be solvable both horizontally and vertically. So whenever you solve it in the regular fashion, it'll flip over and you have to solve it in a different way, by platforming on the walls that used to be vertical. And what I learned from this is even though the solution is the same, it feels like a different maze, because it introduces gameplay on a different dimension. And our second assignment for the same level was to add a door that is opened with a key. So I made it so you have to throw the key through the door to actually open it, and you can pick up every other object in the map, and you can throw those as well, with inventory cycling and etc. And you can use those objects to your advantage in specific areas. It was around this point that I was kind of worried that this would be viewed as some way to undermine the class. But feedback was very minimal, which is an online class and that's probably what I should be expecting. And it was positive, so that emboldened me to continue putting love into it. Because all I really want to do is make things, and if I'm given a reason to make something, I'll probably go the extra mile to do it. And I suppose that's the primary positive thing of taking these classes, is it'll give you a reason to make stuff. Because in my case, I'm not quite good enough to do it for others, and I'm not quite organized enough to do it for myself. But it was at this point that it came to my attention that all of the course material was lifted directly off of a YouTube video that already exists. So yeah, do with that what you will. So I've finally reconciled that I should not worry about what they want. Because if you do the assignment technically as it says, then there's no way they can fail you, and if they do, then you can certainly escalate it, and it's no longer something that I fear. So instead of making a second maze that the third assignment wanted, I made a procedural generator to make an infinite amount of mazes. And if this is viewed as some sort of mockery, then they can take it as a mockery. Because you learn by doing, and if you have to learn by doing something else, then so be it. The ends will justify the means. And although the course material is far below subpar, it helped heal past traumas, and it promoted a growth mindset. So you'll probably read this or hear this everywhere else YouTube videos saying that if you're going for school, it's what you make of it. And now I see it. That it really is what you make of it. Because they're not going to be teaching you much directly. At least not at first, we'll just have to see. And it seems like it might be a waste of time just working on these projects rather than the game itself. But I'm here to build the soft skills, not the hard skills. And there's a lot of facets to that, but I'll try to explain at least a little bit of it. And one of those facets is I only started making art because it was a coping mechanism. And now if there's no immediate tangible reason for me to make something, I just won't make it. And I view one of the reasons for being in this program is to learn how to make things just for the sake of making things. In preparation of what's to come, because it's been very difficult finding the motivation to work on personal projects. And I know I have a huge amount of support, just so many loving and caring people that want to see me succeed, both here on YouTube and in real life. But when it comes to pushing through a massive project, I see that it has to be intrinsic, not extrinsic. I have to motivate myself. And I think I can find it. I just have to do the right projects and learn to love every project that I start. Because it's love, not indignation, that's a stronger emotion for pushing through. And that sounds sappy, but I really do mean that in a utilitarian way. Because you can't complete something no one's telling you to do unless you really want to do it. And it's motivation, not skill, that's the deciding factor in what gets done. At least when it comes to the things that you owe the world. And I have a lot more to say on that, but I'll probably put that in a different video and not bore you with it here. So now that all that's out of the way, here are some projects that I have been working on. So I finished the creature that I mentioned in the previous video, which is a creature for an augmented reality exhibit at the base camp I'm going to, which it turns out is actually too complex to be displayed in augmented reality, but they say they're working on it, so we'll see. It should be there either way. And I made this one for everyone, so you can download this if you want to. As far as the backstory for this one is it's actually from the same universe as the game, and you will probably see something like this as a boss you have to face, so fair forewarning. And the other project I'm trying to work on is to get this castle walking. And this one's proving to be more difficult than I was expecting, because for my entire life it has been experimental models, just branching out and trying things that no one else has done. But this one is pretty well established, fantasy, medieval style things. Which if I were doing this for someone else would be non-negotiable and I would just do it. But as a personal project, there is just no wind in the sails. But I've deemed it as a project that has to happen, because I have to learn how to finish these massive projects, even when they don't resonate with me in a personal way. And once that happens, I'll be ready for the upward spiral I've been looking forward to for the last decade. It's very close, I see it, and I can't wait for it. But until then, I hope you find love in your own endeavors.